She just migrated to the United States to save her ailing son.
He's dying.
But the syndicate in US pushed her so hard that she became the demon she always feared.
Did what I did to stay alive.
Welcome back to our series. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. Things got real intense real quick. The woman, Tenny, saw things were about to go south fast. So she snatched a kitchen knife and slashed the manager's throat. Yeah, brutal. But then, without flinching, she grabbed a straw nearby and blew air into his neck to save him. Just like that, she brought him back. Turns out, Tenny used to be a doctor before life threw her into chaos.
Do you trouble? No more shifts together.
She'd moved to the US hoping to treat her son, Luca, who needed a bone marrow transplant. But right when they were close, the donor bailed on them. And with no legal status, no cash, and a sick kid, Tenny got stuck in the US without papers.
You think you're gonna get paid for that now?
With barely enough money from her late-night janitor job, she picked up extra work, cleaning an illegal underground fight club. While she was scrubbing the bathrooms one night, she overheard the club boss, Theo, talking to one of the fighters. He wanted her to lose on purpose so they could cash in on a big bet. But the woman fighter stood her ground.
You mean to throw the fight? Screw that noise.
Hey!
She wasn't about to throw a match just to help someone else make money. When the fight started, she didn't hold back. She slammed her opponent down hard and the crowd went nuts. But Theo wasn't happy. That meant no cash for him. Since it was fight night, Tenny had to work late. Just as she was about to leave, she saw Theo being surrounded by some dangerous-looking guys.
Nothing I could do. Screw that, you ain't.
She quickly hid and ended her call. Theo was trying to explain things, saying the fighter would play along next time. But then the guys dragged Tenny out of her hiding spot and tossed her near Theo's body. Trying to play it cool, she told them, "I just clean up around here. Let me handle the mess before the blood sinks into the floor. You'll want to use sodium peroxide." That weird comment caught the attention of their leader, a guy named Amon.
I can help you make this disappear.
He was one of the most feared gangsters in town. Word spread fast that Tenny knew her stuff when it came to cleaning up crime scenes, and that's probably what saved her life. Amon told her to clean everything. And everyone just watched as she got to work. Once it was spotless, she told Amon she didn't want any problems and promised to keep quiet.
I take pride in my work because I have a family that needs me. I don't need any trouble.
Instead of threatening her outright, Amon offered her a ride home. Tenny could tell it was his way of saying, "We're watching you." But what choice did she have? Back home, she locked the door, went straight to the bathroom, and broke down crying. That night made one thing clear. She had to get Luca treated and get out of town. She went back to the hospital hoping they'd help, but they wouldn't treat her son without proper papers.
I'm afraid we can't help you.
It was a high-risk procedure, and they weren't about to take the chance. Tenny begged, but they refused. Crushed, she left with Luca, who was innocently waving at someone across the street.
Hi.
Tenny turned and spotted Amon's crew. They'd been following her. Not wanting to play cat and mouse, she met Amon face to face. He handed her a stack of cash and a phone. The money was payment for cleaning up Theo's mess, and the phone was so he could reach her whenever he needed her services.
I haven't said a word to anyone.
He also promised to help with Luca's treatment. That same night, Tenny got a call from the hospital. Somehow the paperwork had been cleared and Luca could start treatment soon.
Thursday at 11.
Yes, that's...
It was the first good news in ages. Her sister-in-law was so happy, she suggested they go out to celebrate a little. Tenny agreed, but happiness doesn't come free. While they were out, Tenny's phone rang. Amon was on the line. He confirmed where she was and picked her up. Then he drove her to this insanely fancy mansion.
My boss can never find out any of this happened here, and I don't...
Tenny was blown away by the place. Amon told her it belonged to his boss and needed to be spotless by sunrise, or he'd be in big trouble. Even though it was super late, Tenny got right to it.
A few more booze.
She grabbed trash bags, cleaned up all the garbage, vacuumed the confetti, and wiped down every surface.
I'm getting cake, yeah, I'm getting...
As she was working, a woman named Nadia showed up, saying she was waiting for her husband, but he hadn't come yet, so she was going to crash on the couch. Tenny didn't think much of it. By morning, the place sparkled. Amon was impressed. Then Nadia walked up to Amon. Turns out, he was the husband she'd been waiting on.
I see you met my wife.
Awkward. Later, Tenny got another call. Theo's body had been found by the cops, and they had to move fast to cover their tracks.
Come on.
Amon asked her to clean another spot while the crew handled the cash and other shady stuff. After they wrapped up, Amon took the goods to his boss and asked what they should do with Tenny.
Running out of time. The police have ID Theo's body.
The boss seemed surprised she was still alive, which freaked Amon out. He rushed back, worried something bad was about to go down.
Because I'm taking care of it now.
Meanwhile, Tenny had finished cleaning and heard something weird. She wasn't hurt, but Amon had gotten some metal stuck in his leg. His men wanted to rush him to a doctor, but Tenny stepped in. If they didn't act fast, he'd lose the leg. She asked for alcohol, fire, and a knife, and patch him up right there.
It's a good thing I trust you.
After that, Amon started treating her better. She finally had enough money to set up a special outdoor area for Luca, who'd been cooped up indoors because of his health. Seeing Luca run around and laugh outside made everything worth it. As she watched from the window, her phone rang. Like muscle memory, she picked up her cleaning gear and stood at the door. A black Cadillac pulled up. She hopped in, not knowing the cops were tailing her. At one of her cleaning gigs, a man holding a baby approached her and asked if he could use the bathroom to change the diaper. Tenny said yes, but then he leaned in and whispered. He was an FBI agent named Miller.
I'm an FBI special agent.
He started asking her questions, but Tenny played dumb and didn't give up any info on Amon.
You know him well?
No.
At the same time, Amon was meeting with a weapons buyer named Victor. Victor liked what he saw at first, but soon he realized Amon's crew had only given him half the agreed amount. He got furious, thinking Amon was trying to rip him off.
Don't leave my guns! Hiya!
Guns came out, and things got tense. Amon, clueless about the missing stuff, tried to smooth things over, promising to find a rest. Victor gave him 24 hours or else. Afterward, Amon called Tenny to clean the place again. This time, she'd had enough. She told him she wanted out, but Amon snapped, saying if she walked, she'd be on her own.
After I finish here today, I want out of
Tenny clapped back, saying, "You couldn't even protect Maddo. How are you going to protect me?" That hit a nerve. Amon got aggressive and warned her to stay in line or she'd regret it.
Just do your job.
Shaken but focused, Tenny dragged the trash out and bumped into a guy named Jimmy, who was acting shady, rolling in a cart when nobody else was around.
I'm just here to...
She took mental notes and went back inside. Later, the club got raided by the police. Chaos broke out. Since most workers were undocumented, getting caught meant deportation. They tried to escape, but got blocked in by the feds, led by none other than Miller. This time, Miller didn't approach Tenny. Instead, he started questioning her sister-in-law, trying to get info on what happened the night Theo died.
What are you doing back here?
Oh, just...
When Tenny heard this, she rushed to protect her family. It turned into another tense showdown. The reason Miller was so persistent? Theo had actually been an undercover agent, planted in the gang.
Theo's a CI puts us back to square one.
Now that he was dead, the FBI had lost their eyes and ears inside. Miller was desperate to keep the case alive, but things kept getting worse. Tenny came home and found that Luca's condition had gone downhill.
This morning I forgot to tell some.
He needed his meds fast, but the hospital wouldn't give them out without a doctor's note. Out of options, Tenny took Luca to the nightclub and begged Amon for help.
He's dying.
Amon didn't say a word. He just picked up Luca and put him in his car. So, things got wild when Tenny and Amon had to track down the shady doctor that the gang usually kept on standby.
Don't worry, your son's in good hands.
All this drama? Yeah, it was being watched by Miller, the detective, who was chilling in his car and tailing their every move. With the doc's help, Luca started doing a little better, not totally out of the woods, but no longer on death's door.
Might be a while.
Meanwhile, the gang boss was fuming and called Amon in. He was all ready to take Tenny out for good. But Tenny had a card up her sleeve. She spilled the beans about Jimmy.
Man was loading boxes on one of your trucks.
Yep, the same Jimmy who was the gang's driver. Turns out he'd been playing both sides, and the stolen guns made his betrayal obvious. So, Amon and his crew went after him.
Hey, Jimmy, why don't you just give it to me straight?
Before Amon could even say a word, Jimmy, racked with guilt, pulled a gun on him. You could tell Jimmy knew he was done for. Tenny, by exposing Jimmy, did the gang a solid. The boss, now seeing her as trustworthy, officially accepted her as part of their messed up little family.
Recover soon.
This meant Luca would keep getting the treatment he needed. While all this was happening, Miller, who had secretly snapped a bunch of pictures,
Boom.
ran to his superior all excited. Ever since they lost Theo, their inside man, they were flying blind in the gang world. But the photos showed how deep Tenny was in now. Miller thought, if we can flip her, we'll bring the whole house of cards down.
It was adenovirus.
Later, when Tenny took Luca to the hospital, Miller approached her while Luca was getting checked. He gave her the usual cop ultimatum: help us, or it's straight back to the Philippines. Cooperate, and Luca stays in the hospital. Refuse, and boom, deported. Tenny really had no choice but to nod along. Now the gang boss's son was getting hitched, and Amon had been assigned to collect envelopes filled with cash from all the guests. Miller, always scheming, told Tenny to somehow grab the list of guests and their cash contributions. Anyone giving big might be tied to the gang.
Happen.
At the wedding setup, one of the local council members got bold and tried to blackmail Amon for $500,000.
Who else knows about the payout?
Huge mistake. Amon pretended to agree and led him to the kitchen. There, he lost all chill and shoved the guy's face into a vat of cooking oil, interrogating him about who else knew his secrets.
Oh, okay.
The guy almost passed out, but Tenny jumped in and saved him with quick CPR. After that wake-up call, the councilman swore to stay silent, and Amon gave him a deadly warning: one peep and you're toast. Tenny knew she couldn't ask Amon for anything now, so she approached his wife, Nadia, and made up a story about needing extra cash. She said she heard about the wedding and wanted to work at the event. Nadia vouched for her, and Tenny ended up working the banquet. When Amon saw her there, he looked surprised but didn't say much because Nadia had already cleared it. Amon focused on ticking off names and collecting the envelopes, while Tenny kept an eye on everything. Eventually, all the cash made it into the safe. While roaming outside, Amon ran into Bella, the bride, who looked super miserable. He gave her a small gift, and she admitted she missed the good old days.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Turns out, she had been forced by her dad to break things off with Amon ages ago, and she'd never gotten over it. Then they kissed, right there on the lawn. Yep, drama alert. Tenny, meanwhile, snuck into a room to search for that guest list. When she looked out the window, she saw Amon and Bella making out. The shock barely settled before the door flew open and in walked Ben, the gang boss's son. He saw Tenny and immediately got suspicious. It was the finance room. No cleaning needed there. Thinking she was stealing, he tried to search her. Thankfully, Amon arrived just in time.
Hey! What's the matter with you?
Ben told him what he saw, and Amon asked Tenny to empty her pockets. All she had was a toy walkie-talkie, supposedly a gift for Miller's kid. Ben backed off, but Amon could tell Tenny was shaken. He asked if she was scared of him, and Tenny just said this life wasn't what she wanted. They parted ways again, kind of tense. But even with all that mess, Tenny had managed to snatch the guest list. Instead of giving it straight to Miller, she handed him that toy walkie-talkie as a pretend gift. Smooth move. Then the hospital called. Luca was in bad shape.
For a reason, if just one child.
His liver was getting worse, and he needed a transplant ASAP. But his immune system wasn't ready yet, so he couldn't survive the surgery unless it got better.
Yes.
The only shot? Finding the old bone marrow donor who could help boost Luca's immune system in time. Miller wasn't letting her off the hook, though. He pulled out a briefcase full of sneaky gadgets, voice recorders hidden in pens and buttons. He handed her one and said, "Just press the cap to start." Tenny didn't want to do it, but Miller basically said, "It's not a request. Do it, or bye-bye hospital bed." Later, Tenny spotted him on talking to that same council member again.
All we need is for your client to...
She saw her chance and dropped the recorder near them while pretending to sweep. But Amon noticed. She froze, thinking she was caught, but he just scolded her for cleaning in front of guests. Totally missed the real reason.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking.
Seeing Tenny's panicked face, Amon guessed she was worried about her kid. That's when she confessed. Luca needed a bone marrow transplant, but the donor backed out.
System is fixed. And the only...
She had looked through medical files and found the guy, Joe, who now wanted $100,000 to reconsider. Amon said Joe was trying to scam her, but she begged for help. After her shift, she handed the recorder to Miller, who looked like he'd won the lottery. Meanwhile, Amon had already kidnapped Joe and stuffed him in his car.
Things right.
Tenny flipped out when she saw Joe tied up. She wanted things done legally, but Amon just shrugged and said, sometimes you gotta fight dirty. They let Tenny talk to Joe, but he wasn't scared. He straight up told her to kill him if she wanted his marrow. Tenny was stunned. The guy wouldn't budge. Then Amon got a call. The councilman's house had been raided by the cops.
Lawyers are with you, understand?
He was panicking because his laptop had damning evidence. Luckily, it was hidden at a hotel. Amon asked Tenny to dress up like a cleaner and sneak in to get it. She did just that, and while pretending to clean, she grabbed the laptop. But then Miller came knocking. Tenny ducked out just in time, but in the rush, she left her necklace behind. Miller wasn't dumb. He knew she'd double-crossed him again. Once that chaos settled, Tenny and Amon returned to the warehouse. Joe was still refusing to help, so Tenny let him go. On the ride back, Joe finally opened up. He said his wife had passed away during a surgery that was supposed to be safe.
Procedure.
After that, he couldn't stomach the idea of going under the knife again. They got a flat tire, and while Joe fixed it, Tenny shared her story.
Doctor who died at the hands of the...
Then Luca called, crying that he couldn't sleep without her. She sang him a lullaby, and Joe recognized it. It was his wife's favorite song to sing to their kid.
How could I forget? Put the...
That hit him hard. Reminded him of better days, of the family he lost. Joe changed his mind. He agreed to the surgery. It went well, and Luca's condition finally stabilized. Tenny was over the moon and took Joe out for a meal to say thanks. Back on the law enforcement side, Miller was fuming. The councilman they finally managed to arrest had been killed in prison. Just like that, all their leads vanished. Meanwhile, Nadia, who had played her part perfectly, impressed a major arms buyer. The guy decided to purchase a whole shipment of weapons. But before sealing the deal, he had one weird request. He wanted to fire a rocket launcher just for the thrill of it. The buyer glanced around, spotted a target vehicle, and let loose a rocket that sent Amon's car up in flames. Instead of panicking, both Amon and the buyer actually cracked a smile while watching the fire eat up the car. You see, Amon had been running a bar for the gang's boss and figured it was about time he got his fair share.
This is where I need you.
But the boss hit him with a surprise. The bar wasn't Amon's to own. He'd handed it over to his daughter, Bella. Feeling cheated and frustrated, Amon decided to confront the boss. He believed he'd earned a piece of the pie, but the boss quickly reminded him how he had dragged Amon out of a tough life.
You're a hot son like your father.
And gave him a shot when no one else would. He said Amon should be thankful and not get greedy. That conversation opened Amon's eyes. He realized that no matter how hard he worked, he'd always be a foot soldier in this gang.
I didn't mean to offend you.
So he decided to play dirty, betray the boss, and make some real money. Right around this time, Tenny showed up. She warned Amon that the FBI had been pressing her for info on the gang.
But because of that,
She hadn't ratted him out yet because he'd always helped her. But the pressure was building and she needed to give them something, anything. Instead of freaking out, Amon had a brilliant idea.
this morning he was playing with his dinosaurs.
He told Tenny to feed the FBI fake intel. The plan? Make it look like the authorities seized the gang's weapons, while in reality, he'd secretly swap the real stash and sell it on the black market for a big payday. Amon told Tenny to pass on a tip to an FBI agent named Miller.
All this empires and things I never thought I'd learn.
The tip said the gang's boss had 3 trucks full of weapons ready to roll. Miller, excited at the chance to finally take down the big boss, jumped into action. His team moved fast. As soon as the trucks started rolling, they were intercepted. SWAT teams popped out, yelling for the drivers to freeze. But when they popped the truck doors open, surprise, all they found were crates filled with watermelons. Miller thought the guns might be hidden beneath the fruit, so he ordered his team to tear everything apart. But after combing through every last crate, there was nothing, just more watermelons. Furious, he kicked one of them, sending it flying.
Because, I don't know, either way.
He knew he'd been tricked. Tenny clearly wasn't on his side anymore. If Amon could use her to mislead him once, he could definitely do it again. Determined to figure it out, Miller spent hours watching surveillance footage. Eventually, he picked up on something, a possible delivery site. He wanted to get a warrant to check it out, but his higher-ups refused, citing his previous mistakes.
Hours before our guys moved in.
That's right.
Still, Miller trusted his gut and decided to go solo. He tracked the location to a farm guarded by heavily armed men. After staking out for a bit, he jumped the fence and slipped inside. He found a warehouse, searched around, and came across boxes covered with tarps. He pried one open and bingo, it was full of guns. He snapped photos with his phone and slipped away to focus on something just as important, helping Luca. Meanwhile, Amon and Tenny had gone to Mexico for Luca's surgery. Thankfully, the operation was a success. Since Luca needed to stay in the hospital for post-op care, Amon returned to Vegas. But his sudden absence got the boss's attention, especially with the missing weapons. The boss was now convinced Amon was behind it all. So he showed up at Amon's place and caught his partner, Nadia, off guard. Amon had told him he was attending his aunt's funeral, but the boss did some digging and found out Amon's aunt was very much alive. In truth, Amon was just sneaking around with a cleaning lady. Despite the sketchy situation, Amon quickly came up with a believable story, and the boss, for the time being, pretended to buy it. But deep down, the boss didn't trust him anymore. So he kidnapped one of Amon's trusted guys and grilled him about Amon's trip to Mexico. The guy spilled everything. The guns, the buyer, the whole plan. The boss was livid. Soon after, Amon barely survived car bomb. He woke up confused, thinking Nadia was Tenny. Nadia had to drag him away from the wreck. A week later, once he was fully conscious, it hit him. Only the boss could have tried to kill him. Betraying the gang came with serious consequences. Amon decided to back off. He thought if he handed over the rest of the deal, maybe the boss would spare him. But Tenny had another idea. She convinced Miller to team up with Amon instead. She argued that the boss was the real criminal here, not Amon. They met quietly at a remote diner and mapped out a plan. Amon told the boss that the buyer insisted on meeting in person for the deal, especially with $6 million on the line. The boss, smelling profit, agreed. The boss and the buyer met at a hotel. At the same time, the buyer's crew was inspecting the weapons store at the farm. One of them called the buyer to confirm the goods were legit. As soon as the deal was approved, undercover cops who were already watching the farm radioed Miller. Suddenly, a wave of SWAT teams moved in on both the hotel and the highway where the trucks were driving. It was a full-blown raid. The buyer, hearing gunfire over the phone, realized something was wrong and pulled out his weapon. In that moment, Amon jumped in front of the boss and took the bullets. He then grabbed the buyer as a hostage. But here's the twist. All of it was part of Amon's grand plan. As they passed a janitor's cart in the hallway, Amon acted like he was struggling, but slyly dropped a USB drive inside the cart. Inside the hotel room, Miller opened a briefcase expecting to see the money, but all he found was bottles of bourbon. Amon had fooled him again. While everyone was distracted by the chaos, the real money had already been transferred through cryptocurrency. Miller finally realized that the USB drive hidden in the cleaning cart was the key. He rushed out, but Tenny had already grabbed it. Now, Tenny was sitting on $6 million. And since Amon had taken a bullet for the boss, he was back in the gang's good books. The boss gave him the password to the crypto wallet and full control of future deals. Amon went to visit Tenny, who was now in prison, and subtly tapped out the password with his fingers on the table, telling her without saying a word. With Luca's medical care sorted and the money secured, Tenny had everything she needed. She was finally in control. Her plan? Stay in the States, open a clinic to help underprivileged people, and use it as a front to clean Amon's money. But when she returned home with her sister-in-law, she walked into a nightmare. Luca was gone. Her ex-husband, who had a nasty gambling habit, had taken him away.